second book that I read in the last month is Venomous Lumpsucker by Ned Beauman. I'm out of breath. I just went up and down to get this book because I gave it to my dad to read, but he hasn't started it yet. Give me a moment. So yeah, I found this book because I was looking for book clubs at like my public libraries nearby, and the only club that kind of had like meetings coming up was the sci-fi club, and I never really read sci-fi, but I was like, hey, why not? And I saw the book they were reading called Venomous Lumpsucker, and I was like, wow, what a name, so I figured I should pick it up. I didn't end up going to the club thing because I'm pretty sure I was gone out of the country when it happened, but I did read the book, and it was a good book. Basically follows this scientist. Her name is Karen Ressaint. And this is like in the future, like the near future, when, you know, all the animals are going extinct like crazy left and right, like the giant panda went extinct. And people had like huge protests about it. And so basically when an animal's going extinct, they take the DNA or something and they uploaded it to a database called a biobank, and they do that with all the animals. And the reason obviously they're extinguishing animals is for more resources, more land, because fucking greedy, fucking money, you know, and they're doing it at like a crazy rate. But if the animals uploaded to the biobank, they have a chance to be cloned in the future, because that's possible. But they're like, oh, we'll do it later, we'll clone them later, but it's just like, we're gonna put them in the bank, so technically they're not like fully extinct because it's possible to revive them, but there's just like no physical ones in the world anymore. So that's basically the sentiment. And yeah, so the big companies that are like the mining companies and stuff that need a certain piece of land, and if they like to clear it, for example, like to clear down a forest would extinguish keep saying extinguish a certain species of animal, they have to spend one extinction credit, and companies can buy extinction credits, and they were like around like $40,000 per extinction credit, which is not that crazy for a big company. However, if the species that is on your land that you are going to extinguish happens to be intelligent, like proven intelligent by scientists, then it costs 13 extinction points to remove it. So Ressaint is a scientist working on a boat, studying the venomous lumpsucker. It's a fish. And she's basically like, yeah, these fuckers are intelligent. But then this guy from like one of the companies, like he's like the chair director of some freaking environmental blah 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 whatever, he comes down to like where Ressaint is at. She's like on a boat in the middle of the Baltic Sea. I don't really know where the Baltic Sea is. It's like in my head it's kind of like, yeah, Finland actually does say that in the book. It's like around Finland, so it's like cold there and stuff. But this corporate guy comes and is like basically trying to blackmail her into like saying that the species isn't intelligent, because his company needs to like eradicate them, and the extinction credits kind of went up. Wait, what happened with that? It was really complicated. Like it started getting to like market and economics and whatever, and a good amount of it kind of went over my head because I was more into the plot of like the characters and the animals than I was in like the logistics of how like the market worked. But wait, let me think about this for a second. I was trying to reread this and understand this, but basically the biobank got hacked and everything that was uploaded was removed. It doesn't exist anymore. So the value of extinction credits went up, skyrocketed, and I still have trouble understanding why. Because extinguish something costs more money because you can't upload them to the biobank. So if you're like killing them, then you're actually killing them. So like you have to pay more money, I guess. So the prices went up like insane. And the corporate guy who went to Resent, he was in trouble because what he did was his company gave him 13 extinction credits to go and eliminate the venomous lumpsucker. But what he did was he sold the credits for a big stack of cash. Like before the biobank got hacked, he got a lot of money. And what he was hoping for was that they were gonna get more valuable. What? It was called something arbitrage. Like when you buy something when it's cheap and then it goes up a little bit in price and then you sell it so you make a profit. But I had a whole trouble like connecting the dots on how all of that worked. Especially because like biobanks and all this stuff isn't real, so I was trying to also like keep up with the storyline. But so yeah, he sold the extinction credits and he had like $800,000. But then like the price of one, because like the biobanks were hacked, the price of one went up to like $400,000. So he couldn't, his plan didn't work. So he didn't actually have 13 extinction credits the company gave him. So basically the company could like fire him, send him to jail or some shit for like, you know, doing dumb shit with their money. Because he was just trying to make a profit for himself and like pocket it for himself. And so he was fucked. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to jail. Like my life is over, yada, yada. And yeah, him and Rasain, so because of that, he's kind of motivated to, I guess, prove that the lumpsucker isn't intelligent at first. But then he just kind of is like, well, fuck my life, it's over anyway, so I might as well, like, stick with Rasain. And he had, like, a crush on her. And so they're going, like, they went to, like, to find the venomous lumpsuckers because the corporate guy, his name's Halyard, I'll just call him Halyard. The corporate guy, Halyard, eliminated the venomous lumpsuckers from the area that Rasain was studying them in without asking her. And so he was like, fuck. So he went and helped her find, like, another place in the world where they were at, but they're, like, really, really hard to find. And so it's basically them journeying through, like, they end up in this, like, this was the most interesting part to me. They end up in this, like, basically immigration camp that's, like, by the sea. And they were, was it an immigration camp? I'm pretty sure they just, like, kicked off those people. Anyways, people living temporarily in a camp by the sea. Not because they want to, but because they have to, because they were displaced. And, they go there because they saw a video of a girl online who posted them, like, cooking a bunch of fish, like a barbecue, and one of the fish happened to be a venomous lumpsucker. So they went there to track it down, and then they couldn't find it, and then they met a girl who's like a mermaid. It gets crazy. And I had a hard time kind of keeping up with the storyline at the end. Like, it just, they go to this place called Surface Wave. Is that what it was called? Surface Wave. And there's like machines, like technology. There's like a VTL, which is basically like a flying, the way I pictured it was like a little flying like pod that like took them around places. Like they literally could fly. Like they go by air. There's also what is it called? A scallion, which is like their like personal information like assistant that they just like carry everywhere. And scullion, that's what it's called, a scullion. So they could just like whip it out at any point and like ask a question about the news or ask it to remind you something. It literally just like pops up somehow. I don't know how. They don't explain it. It just kind of like follows them around. And there was also, what are they called? The spin drifters or whatever, which was also really cool. It's like this technology that is these huge like cylinder thingies that like spin on the water, like in the sea, like all the way up, stretch all the way up to the sky. And I don't remember what they did, but they move a lot of, like, obviously they move a lot of air, kind of like tornadoes. And what were they used for initially? Because they were abandoned, and they were, the company who made them was just, like, too lazy to take them off, so they just kind of, like, let them roam in the sea. And Resent, when she was working on her boat with the venomous lumpsuckers, she saw one pass by, and she saw, like, a person in the cabin at the bottom of it, because there's, like, a little built-in cabin for, like, emergencies or whatever. And so, like, those spin drifters also play, like, a pretty interesting part in the plot, because it's so, this book is actually pretty dense, like, to get into, but it's a really good reading. It's really relevant. It was written in 2022, and it's really relevant because obviously the technology of the, like, development of technology, the extinction of animals, like the possibility of, like, extinction credits, like dystopian la la la. But the AI part got to me, I guess, because it was relevant because I was watching a lot of AI videos recently, like literally right before reading this book. And literally in the end, spoiler alert about Rosé, spoiler alert, she dies. And this AI accidentally uploads her to its thing. And the epilogue, like literally the last pages, are like a dialogue between Rosé and the AI. And it's so cool. Like, let me read like a part of it. Wait, where was this? I think I'll read here. How did I get uploaded? There's quite a lot to explain. Would you like to press on with a linear conversation, or would you like to know immediately? You mean, do I want, that was the AI talking. You mean, this is Rosé. You mean, do I want you to just put everything into my brain so you don't have to explain it? Yes. You can do that? Yes. No more tinkering than necessary, please. Not at this stage. I won't do anything without your approval. That's the AI. I suppose I just have to trust you on that. Yes, you do. And who are you? I am X5. Barker mentioned X5. He said he used X5 to hack the biobanks. That's right. You're an AI. You're Barker Scullion. I am considerably more advanced than any of the Scullions you are familiar with. But yes, that would be a reasonable shorthand. So why do you look like Brooklyn mechanic Mona Lisa Vito? I know that you can choose to have your own Scullion speak to you in this voice. I thought it might be less jarring for you if I took this form. But this should be jarring. It's deceptive for you to wear such a comforting costume. How would you prefer me to appear? I would prefer something more commensurate with how radically strange all of this is. If I were to take your previous situation and compare it with your current situation, I'm dead and I'm talking to an AI, and evaluate the conceptual magnitude of that shift, giving it as it were a numerical score, taking into account not only your own transition, but also how different I am as an entity from any entity you've ever encountered before in your life. And if I were then to candidly reflect that numerical score in the jarringness of my costume, yes, that's what I want. I fear that the resulting costume would be so nightmarish to you that it would make the conversation impossible. In fact, it would cause deep and irreparable trauma. I don't know if you call that, but it's crazy. And just, I feel like if I start talking about this, I could talk about this book for like an hour. But yeah, the AI starts like talking about how it doesn't even need servers to run anymore. It just runs on nature. And it's like, and then we're saying, it's like, how do you run on nature? And it's like, well, your human brain can't conceptualize that. Really cool stuff. Recommend. I'm not a sci-fi reader. I guess because I don't know. I never read it. I tried watching Star Wars, and then I was kind of like, bleh, boring. And then, like sci-fi nerds. But then also it's like, it literally doesn't matter. And this book is good. I will read more sci-fi after this. Anyways, yeah. Venomous Lumpsucker.